guys, today we are going to be doing another top 5 bottom 5 new makeup releases. I know it's been quite some time since I've done this. Honestly, I simply just forgot. Terrible excuse, but that's where I'm at, and today we're going to be doing another one. This series is of course inspired by Angelica and Samantha March. I will have their channels linked down below if you want to go check them out, but basically what I do is I put my own spin on the Will I Buy It's, where I basically take the things that I'm the most excited about and I talk about them, and then I also take some things that maybe I'm not so excited about that I think are kind of stupid, and of course these are just my own opinions, and this is just meant to be fun, and I don't mean to be like bashing the brands in any way. This is just what I kind of think is maybe unnecessary, or you know what I'm trying to say. Like, this is just for fun. So I think we should just go ahead and get started. I'm going to start on the top 5 like I usually do, and then we'll move into the bottom 5 at the end. So let me go ahead and scooch over and move my focus spot a little bit so I have room for some pictures. Alright, so since it has been quite some time since I did one of these, I wanted to make sure that the things that I talked about aren't things that I've like done videos with and stuff like that. Obviously there's a lot that's come out since the last time I did one of these videos that I've been super excited about, but I want to just focus on like new things that I haven't featured, or just things that are new that maybe you guys don't know are coming and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get into the things that I am the most excited about. So there was actually, it was hard for me to come up with 5 that I was like, this is awesome, like I want this, whereas with the bottom 5 this time, there was so many things that I thought was kind of stupid, but again, just my opinion. Alright, the first thing I need to talk about this because I'm so excited about this palette. This is a new palette from Glaminatrix. It is called the, let's see, You Beauty Eyeshadow Palette. The color story in this, oh, I love it so much. I'm so excited. I should be getting this in PR. I don't know when. I think that this is already sold out. I'm not really sure. I will link all of the things that I am talking about, like the top 5 at least, down below if you want to go check any of them out. I'm not sure if this is available anymore. It will probably come back though. I do have a code with Glaminatrix. It is that. I totally forget my code sometimes, but I do have a code with them, and I'm very, very excited to be testing out this palette. This looks so beautiful, and this has some beautiful, amazing duochromes and multichromes, and the shimmers just look so yummy, and I already know I love Glaminatrix shimmers. They are some of the most foiled and intense shimmers that I have in my collection, and I think they are beautiful. And the matte selection in this palette looks really nice too. It's not like super bright, but it's at the same time quite dark and grungy, but has like quite a lot of color to it, and I really like this. I'm so excited to be doing looks with this, and I think that they did an amazing job with this palette, and I feel like this is something new and something different. Like, I don't feel like I've seen a color story like this before, and that makes me excited. So super excited about this. I do want to mention the price though, because it is $73, which is quite an expensive palette, but keep in mind that this is an indie brand. They do hand make all of their shadows and their palettes, so it is going to be a little more expensive than, you know, something you would buy at Sephora or whatever. And also there are, like I said, there are some multichromes in here, and those are just more expensive to make. So I think that the price is probably warranted, and I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. If I didn't get this in PR, I would buy it so quickly, but since I know I'll be getting it, I can't wait. So all of the top things on my list this time, except for one, are eyeshadow palettes. So let's talk about the one thing that's not an eyeshadow palette. So I don't know if this is available anymore. I know this is like a Nordstrom exclusive, but this is a new blush from Estee Lauder, and it came with a lipstick as well. I will have the pictures up on the screen, but this collection, it just spoke to me in my heart when I first saw it. Like, my heart skipped a beat because I was like, oh, that's so pretty. Like, it's so beautiful. The packaging is everything, and just the imprint or like the texture in the blush just makes me want to use it. Like, it looks so good. I am such a sucker for packaging. I'm a sucker for things that are just aesthetically pleasing and it just looks pretty, and this looks beautiful. And that shade of blush, I don't know if I have a shade like that in my collection, and I'm so intrigued, but also it's Estee Lauder and it's quite expensive, and I have so many blushes that I don't need this, but do I want it? Yes. And the lipstick, the color of the lipstick and the fact that it's monochromatic with the blush makes my heart sing, because oh, I just love it. I want it. I think the lipstick color is beautiful as well, and I think that it would suit basically any skin tone, and I think it would look really good on me, not gonna lie. Same with the blush, but like I said, I'm not gonna get it. It's probably sold out already. It wasn't exclusive, but when I first saw this, I really, 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 really wanted it. Okay, another palette that I'm super excited about is the new palette from Menagerie. I know I haven't talked about this one. This is called the Flight Club palette, and it's a monochromatic purple and pink palette. It looks so cute, and the artwork, can we talk about the artwork? It looks so cute. The bat on the front, I just can't, like, oh, it's adorable. And I'm excited to do some looks with this. I just can't wait. It's been such a long time since Menagerie has come out with a palette. The last one they came out with was the Pastel Pop palette. And even though I like that palette, pastels aren't really like my favorite. So it didn't end up being like my favorite Menagerie palette just because of the color story, because I prefer something that's just a little bit darker and intense, as you can tell. But I think that this palette is stunning and I can't wait to do some looks with it. And I'm just excited. I don't know when I'll be getting it. I know I'm getting this one in PR as well, so hopefully it should be coming soon. Let's see, when is this? I think the pre-order has already been done. I think it's sold out. I don't know if it's coming back, not sure 100%, but I mean, I'm sure it's going to restock at some point. I just don't know when, but I'm very excited about this. So a new brand that I've seen come out, this is a brand called Rephr Cosmetics, and they sneak peeked this palette, and this palette looks so good. Like, these are my kind of, again, clearly, these are my kind of colors. I love purples, I love blues. My only thing about this palette is like, it looks like with the packaging that it's something that you kind of like pull out. Not really sure how I feel about that, but I think that the color story and everything about this looks amazing, and I'm probably going to pick this up, to be honest, because looking at the promotional picture with the girl who has that purple eye look, that shimmer on the lid looks like such a beautiful kind of iridescent purple. It looks really, really, really nice. And like I said, super intrigued by this. I don't know anything about the brand. I don't know the price. I don't know when it's coming, but probably going to pick this up and I'm probably going to review it because I'm just very intrigued. I'm very intrigued. I think they did a fantastic job with the color story, and there's a black matte in there. Again, just makes me so happy. Also, if you're wondering about the look that I'm wearing, I did film it and it is coming, but I'm just not sure when, but just keep an eye out for it. It's definitely going to come. Let's see. What is the last thing that I'm excited about? I'm trying to find a picture here. Oh, this one. Oh, okay. So this is the new palette from Trixie Cosmetics. And when I first saw this, I was a little bit surprised because I haven't really been that blown away by anything that Trixie has done in the past. But this color story speaks to my soul because, again, it has a matte black in it, it has blues in it, it doesn't have any neutrals in it, the shimmers look amazing. Again, I'm not going to buy it just because I have a lot of blue palettes. Like, I have a lot of blue palettes, okay? Way more than any person would ever need, and I also have a ton of like blue shimmers, so I don't need this. But on the other hand, I kind of wish I picked it up to review, but it's a little bit too late now, so I'm not going to do that. But I feel like Trixie is a brand that I'll be kind of eyeing a little bit more now than I have, because in the past I haven't really been looking for them. You know, like, it's not really a brand that I've been super interested in. I'm not really following like the whole drag culture and stuff like that. Like, I think it's really cool, but it's not something that I'm personally like super interested in. But maybe I will be after seeing this, because this is a really, really nice palette, and I think that they did a really good job with it. Let's move into the things that I think are kind of stupid. So let's start with this one. This is from Fenty Beauty, and this is called the Body Sauce. It's a blurring body tint that enhances the skin you're in with light to medium buildable coverage to even out and instantly blur away the appearance of blemishes and imperfections with a silky texture and transfer-resistant formula, comfortable and smooth to the touch. On the body? I've just never understood why anybody would want to have makeup on their body. Like, the only time I could ever think of that would be like, you know, if you're on set, you're like an actor, you're in a movie or something, but like everyday people, do you know anybody or do you use makeup on your body? Like, to me, the thought of having something on my body, especially in the summer and stuff, but that is like the only time where you're wearing less clothes that would actually show the makeup, that would be an appropriate time to use it. But then it's like hot and you're sweating, and like, I just don't get it. Like, I don't personally put anything on my body. I don't put moisturizer on my body. Like, I am totally fine. I don't like lotions. The thought of being like sticky and stuff, I just don't like it. And I just think that you could just use the foundation. I mean, if you're gonna use something on your body, I mean, this is basically a foundation. Is it even any bigger than a foundation? Maybe it is. I guess maybe it comes in a bigger pump or something. It has 3 ounces of products in it. I guess that's a lot, but $48 for something you're gonna rub on your body? I personally, I just don't get it. Another product here that I'm just not really that into, if I'm being honest here. I know I'm saying honest a lot, but I'm just being honest. Wow. Okay, this is a new palette from Voss, and this is called the Cherry palette. To me, this doesn't look like it has anything to do with cherry at all, except for that top right shade, which is basically covered in a promotional picture here, which is a red. I hate this. I hate this so much. It's one of my biggest pet peeves when brands don't match like the front of their packaging or the name of the palette to like what's actually inside of it. Like this feels so lazy, and I just don't understand why call it a cherry palette when it literally has nothing to do with cherries on the inside. Like the color story in this is just a neutral, boring, plain, neutral palette. I just said neutral twice in the same sentence, which didn't make any sense, but clearly I'm not making any sense today. But I just hate this palette. I think that if this was like a chocolate palette, if this was a chocolate bar palette, it would have made so much more sense than having it be a cherry palette. Like that's the thing that gets me. It's not that I hate neutral palettes. Like I think there's totally a time and place for that, and a lot of people love them. But calling a neutral palette a cherry palette, that's what gets me. Like that annoys me, it makes me angry, and I just don't think that they did the cherry theme any justice. Like cherries are good, but this palette sucks. Another palette which this color story, I just don't like it. This is a new palette from BH Cosmetics. It's called the Aquamarine palette. And this could just be personal preference, but for me, when I look at this palette and I look to see like what's a shimmer and what's a matte, like it just doesn't really make sense with the kind of looks that you would want to do probably. I'm not really sure. Like the fact that there are so many blues in this palette, but like no blue darker mattes, it's like it's a little bit hard for me to wrap my head around like how to use this, because the most obvious thing you would do with this palette is just to use the neutrals in the crease every time and do a blue on the lid, but like that makes it very, very limiting. And for me, when I look at a palette, I try to figure out like how many looks can I realistically do with this in the way that I like to do my makeup. And I like to have, you know, mattes in my crease, obviously, and so the first thing I always look at is what mattes will go together in this palette, like what are the mattes and what colors are the mattes and how will I use those mattes, and then from there I will look at the shimmers. I don't really care what the shimmers are until I figure out like what the matte color story is, because that is what, especially on my hooded eyes, kind of determines like what my look will look like when I'm looking straight ahead, because you can't really see the shimmers on my lid when I'm just like talking to you right now. So I always look at the mattes first and then figure out like if I like the matte color story, then I'm probably going to like the shimmers, because the shimmers are not as important to me as what the matte color story is. And in this palette in particular, I'm a little bit confused, and I probably wouldn't know like how to use any of those light blue mattes because they're so light, and like you don't want to blend a light blue matte into a brown matte because it's just gonna get messy. So really the only full blue look you can do with this is something very, very, very light. And to me, that's very limiting. And I also just don't like the fact that there's suppressed glitter in here. I mean, we've gone through this so many times, and I hate the fact that there's one large pan. Like, there's one big pan, and the big pan never makes any sense. It just, like, color story-wise, it makes no sense, and I just don't like it. Why couldn't they have just made all of these 8-pan palettes? I get that they wanted, like, the big shade to be, like, the theme of the palette or whatever it is that they're doing. I don't know, but I don't like it, and I wish that it would just be 8-pan palettes, because it would have been so much more pleasing to look at, and it wouldn't have annoyed me as much. I'm so petty, I know, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna keep being petty because we're gonna talk about this new palette from Profusion. Profusion, that's a hard name for me. This is the Love You So Brunch palette, and I love the theme of this. I love the fact that it's a waffle palette. I don't really mind palettes having like weird shapes as long as they're still kind of sleek. Like, I don't mind, like, you know, like Glaminatrix packaging can be a little bit bulky sometimes, but they're kind of excused because they're so cute and I love their formula so much. But when it comes to a palette like this, I don't really mind it. I don't mind it looking like a waffle. What really gets to me in this is the different shaped pans. I just cannot look past that. To me, when there's different shaped pans in a palette, it just looks like kids' makeup. I don't know if it's just me. Honestly though, I love the color story. I think the color story is super fun. And if this palette had only been, you know, like the square normal eyeshadow pans, like I would have maybe possibly have picked this up just because I love waffles. I've never tried Profusion. I know that they get pretty good reviews and they're supposed to have good eyeshadows, but the only reason I haven't tried them before is because all of their other eyeshadow palettes are in that stupid plastic packaging, which I hate. I hate stupid plastic packaging with a passion. It just cheapens the makeup so much in my opinion, and I just know that I'm less likely to reach for something that doesn't look as good as something else in my collection, so I just don't even bother with it. But this looks kind of cute, and I just wish that the pans were, at least some of the pans weren't shaped as waffles, because that's just why. Last thing, let's talk about this. I know this is a bit older, but when I saw it, all I could do was just shake my head, because this is the definition of a money grab, and this is Jeffree Star's new collection. He is celebrating the 3-year anniversary of the Blood Sugar palette by coming out with a limited edition different packaging Blood Sugar palette. Like, are you kidding me? Really? Really? I don't know if like maybe one of the shades are new or something, but I think that this is literally the definition of a money grab. You're just releasing the same thing with a different packaging. I mean, MAC, I'm looking at you, but at least their packaging is usually like beautiful, but this is just white instead of being red. And I guess he has like a small 9-pan palette with what, some of the same shades that are in the big one. They look exactly the same to me. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this collection. And I also just hate the highlighting palette or whatever. What even is that? Is that a highlighting palette? Is it a face palette? Is it blushes and highlighters? Is that a bronzer, or is it supposed to be a highlighter? I don't really understand that palette. I don't think it looks very good either, and I hate the tooth imprints in them. I don't like it. Yeah, I really, really, really don't like that at all. So those are going to be the things that I wanted to talk about in this episode. Also, if you ever see anything that you think is like weird or crazy or maybe bottom 5 worthy, do tag me in it on Instagram, and I hope that I see it. I don't always see all tags because I do get quite a lot of them. But if you want to tag me, definitely do so, and I can probably bring it up if it's something that I also think is really stupid, because sometimes they can be a little bit hard to find. But this time I felt like there were so many stupid things that have been released that it was pretty easy to pick the bottom 5, whereas the top 5 just wasn't that many things I've been excited about lately. Maybe that's just me, but yeah. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see my other videos in the series, here is my playlist. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.